Hey, Sean here, gift from Lyft. Just coming up here on Princeton Avenue, Princeton Place actually, in Montclair, New Jersey, and this is the official home of Colonel Edwin Buzz Aldrin Jr., Montclair's Man on the Moon. So yeah, I remember watching the Man on the Moon landing when I was, 1969, I was all of 6 years old. There it is. The man who walked on one of the first men on the moon, and this is Montclair, New Jersey, not too far from where I live, and where I end up taking a lot of my rides, picking them up and dropping them off, and yeah, right over my shoulder, there's Buzz's house. It's pretty cool, huh? So yeah, I just wanted to talk about on this gift of Lyft about kind of make a confession, and I'm using the Buzz Aldrin analogy, or want to, of technology, a moon landing, something like so radical in 1969 with today. And part of what I wanted to reveal is see if I can walk and talk and not trip over the flagstone and the curb here on my walkthrough is I sold my shares of Uber and Lyft today. Actually, I sold them on last Thursday. Today's Saturday. And I sold them because of, not that I don't believe in the rideshare concept, I really do, but in keeping with the moon landing theme, from what I'm seeing coming out of Waymo and what Tesla is working on eventually, I really believe the rideshare of the future is going to be the Waymos of the world. And there's just a lot of evidence, and I'll back it up with my own evidence of, I've seen people driving really poorly, and lots of mistakes and lots of craziness and just lots of really bad overall driving. And, Waymos, whatever you think of the insecurity around getting in a vehicle without a human driver, the facts are in. They're much better than we are. And I've seen it firsthand. I've been driving for over 3 years now, and some pretty tight spots in northern New Jersey and close to Manhattan. And the evidence is clearly seen every day of how poorly human drivers are doing. So the reason I'm selling out is the fact that it's just more of a financial stock market thing. Is I just think the shares are going to be constantly under pressure. And I just think that this is the beginning of just an erosion. And sure, Uber might do fine and Lyft will do okay. They're both going to survive. But for me, it was just a matter of just taking some resources and putting them somewhere else. And we'll see over time how well that move plays out. But the underlying theme here is that, Waymo's driverless cars, the technology's here. The evidence is clear that they're just safer. And, all the evidence also is that when people take the ride, when they actually complete the ride, their satisfaction levels are through the roof. Especially women feel safer. And there's evidence, of course, recently of some of the shit that's been going on with, men driving, unfortunately, being men, harassing women or whatever. They don't feel safe, and they're going to feel safer, getting in a car that delivers the person 99% of the time without any kind of incident whatsoever. It's probably higher. It's much higher than that, despite some of the recent press. So I just wanted to check in and kind of make a statement here. I want to, I still love to bash Lyft and Uber with, how little they're paying the driver and how you can actually, there it goes, right? Case in point on how you can benefit from that, from a market standpoint. But, the point is that the future of driving is going to be robotic, and that's really kind of weird in a way. I get that, and it also kind of saddens me because I think, this gig that I've been doing that's helped me with my burnout, helped me meet so many different people and kind of liberate me from, isolation, from being stuck behind a screen from shrinking my world, it's yet one more iteration of taking away a human driver and taking all that experience that I just had and making it harder for someone to have that. So I know it's in New Jersey, it's going to take a couple of years before it reaches scale and it gets to be, like San Francisco or Austin, Texas, or, but there's 10 to 15 cities coming online, in 2026 that are going to start to take this experiment and start putting it into the mainstream. And, the evidence is clearly going to be continuing that it's just a safer ride all around, and it's going to get cheaper. And all those factors, those forces, are going to make the kind of driving that I did and the ability for people to get into a car with another human being, it's going to make that much harder to something that's just going to be kind of maybe you'll pay more for that. Maybe you'll pay for a human experience. I don't know. We'll see, right? It's just, in some level, it's just really kind of sad. And I don't know, there's something that's lost. Although, yeah, there's a gain in safety, for sure. But there's just the element of what's been serving me so well and has served me is going to be gone. And that, that makes me really sad. I wish it wasn't the case. So anyway, hopefully maybe I'm wrong about this, but that's all I got today on the gift of Lyft. So the good news is it's not going to be for a couple of years, and I hope to have a platform and a place to drive. Where's my car? Oh, it's over there. Anyway, Sean here, gift of Lyft. Hope to tune in. Hopefully you'll subscribe if you got this far. Thanks.